president of Finlocker. So many of you know him from his time at Flagstar, leading the way for wholesale and correspondent over there. He transitioned to this new adventure with Finlocker last summer. We were working really close with him at Arrive and at AIME prior to his move, and even more so now, now that he's working on an initiative that's really set out to help consumers, which obviously is the goal of every broker out there. So Brian, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Katie. Glad to be here. Glad to help in any small way I can.
Absolutely. We've got a lot of people that are really excited to have you on today. So I know we're going to see a ton of questions coming in, but before those get rolling, one theme that we keep hearing consistently is that people are having a little bit of a hard time transitioning to working from home. It's definitely new for a lot of people. We've got some of our community that has been working from home forever, and that's where they decided to office out of. We've got some others that have never done it before and are very new to this requirement in a lot of states to shelter at home and be in a specific place all the time. So you made that transition last summer when you jumped to Finlocker after spending many, many years in an office at Flagstar with a pretty structured routine and a team in place there in the office. How did you get through it, and what advice would you give to people that are currently working on trying to figure out how to make that transition?
Yeah, so last summer, as you said, I when I left Flagstar, which I went into not on the road, I moved into a home office here, moved back into my home office, and I did a office stint probably 12 years ago, but it's an adjustment for sure. For me, my whole thing was going to be awesome. I'm going to get 2 hours a day of my life back because I'm not going to be commuting. I'm going to work out. I'm going to run. I'm going to do all this great stuff. And what I found happened was I woke up at the same exact time. And instead of going to run or work out, I'd just peek into my office and peek at an email. And then I'd be in a rabbit hole for, 12 hours. So
Yeah.
This ideology of freeing up your time and having more time to yourself is not necessarily the case. It takes discipline. So what I would say is, for those that are making the transition to home, besides the obvious challenges that parents with younger kids might have in terms of how do I manage kids and keep and do my job, I can't really help with that. My kids are older. And actually 2 of them are back here with us right now. So my managing of them is telling them to get off of the Netflix or whatever's slowing down my internet. But beyond that, it's really try to stay on the same schedule, right? If you had a schedule, and that schedule could include regular staff meetings and other kind of regular meetings that you would have while in the office, we can still do those. So at our company, we have several standing meetings throughout the week. None of those went off the calendar. We're continuing with those every day. The other thing that we're doing, or we're trying to do, and I do this every day with our team, is just I shoot a short video, send it out via email just to help people feel connected. So there's one side of it. If you're an employee, right, or a staff person on a team, there's just stay productive. How do you stay connected? How do you get what you need from your management team? And if you're in a position of leadership, I think as important is staying available for your team, whether it's shooting video, sending it out via email, whether it's having calls like this, video calls, just anything that you can do to kind of keep that connectivity. I think what we're finding at our company is we haven't lost a beat in terms of productivity. So we've got a great team of developers that are just cranking away. We've stayed on our sprint and development schedule, which is great. I would argue that we actually probably are a little more productive because we don't have kind of the ad hoc hallway meetings that turn into 20-minute conversations. So
it really
I don't know
makes
if that's helpful, but that's kind of the way I look at things.
Absolutely. It makes you evaluate what meetings are really important, right? Which ones are you having to have, because it's easier to put a meeting on the schedule than to be thoughtful about your questions and write them down and wait for somebody to respond, versus the ones that you really need to have because you need to hash stuff out face-to-face. You have to think about it a little bit more when it requires you scheduling a video call. Uh-oh, Brian, it looks like you might have frozen.
Yeah, you're breaking up on me, so I'm trying to stay in line here.
There we go. So with that, right, we get a lot of questions around people who are asking what tools, what kind of software do you use to help manage working from home. For us at AIME, we're huge on Slack. Slack is the thing that we live on. We live and breathe and are in Slack every minute of every day. That's where we have that constant form of communication back and forth. We have Slack calls if somebody has a quick question. And then obviously video conferencing, right? We use Zoom or GoToMeeting, any of those where we can have it feel like we're face-to-face in the same room, where you can look people in the eye over a video call. Is there anything that you guys use, or have you noticed any difference in the systems that you gravitate towards now that you are working from home more?
I think I caught some of those questions. You're coming in and out on my feed. So you're asking special tools or unique tools to use. So I'm in a older generation. So here's what I would say. Everything that I had when I worked in the corporate office at Flagstar from a technology and tool perspective, I have at home. So for me, it has been virtually different in terms of the tools that I use on a daily basis for productivity. What I would say is we're definitely at our company, we're definitely leaning more into Zoom and video meetings and encouraging that. But I haven't really seen any unique tools that folks are using or that I think would benefit me in any different way. What I do find fascinating, though, is just watching and hearing the talk about different things that people are learning about. And so I've got a bunch of new apps on my phone, 2 actually today, in order to prepare for this meeting. So I'll be testing them out on a go forward. So it's always interesting to we go through these type of events. I've got guys now texting me, telling me to upgrade my internet. So that's Mr. Evan Wade, who must not have much to do today watching this video. Crap via text. And that's a good point. When you that transition to a home office, you got to go right to the highest powered internet possible. And our little neighborhood, for whatever reason, has a crappy internet provider, and I pay for the Mac Daddy Cadillac, and it's more like a Yugo right now.
But that's true. That's very important. If you are going to be working from home for a while, things as simple as what's your internet speed, and with all of the additional people online at home, including Netflix running and more users that are connected to the Wi-Fi and all this stuff, it eats away at it a lot faster than you think that it will. And it is super important to be prepared. If you're going to make that investment to be available from home, you need to have the best kind of internet possible, because otherwise you never know when it's going to slow down on you, and you don't want it to be in the middle of something really critical, right? If you're on the phone with a client trying to get something done and all of a sudden your internet cuts, not great. So definitely invest.
No bueno, right.
If you can. One of the things that we're also talking about a lot, right, outside of how do we transition to working from home, now that we have so many consumers that are working from home and are more readily available during the day, how do we help our community make sure that those consumers are ready coming out of this market? We've had tons of conversations around, and we'll have more information coming out soon for those of you that are watching, around forbearance and what it means, and deferment, and all of these options for people that currently have loans, the servicing aspect of it. But for those that are interested in refinancing or taking cash out or buying a house this summer, obviously we're about to hit what is traditionally the busiest time of the year for people to buy homes. We're not really sure when that's going to pick up or what that's going to look like, depending on what area of the country you're in. how do we make sure consumers are ready and they're positioning themselves to be in a spot where they can strike when the iron is hot again, when rates make a positive move, or when they find the house of their dreams, or when they just need to close a cash out refi because they're strapped for cash because they've been at home for a while. What can they be doing? What can brokers be telling them to do now so that they're ready?
Oh yeah, that's awesome. And I'm watching and talking with a bunch of lenders, large and small, that all have kind of a unique twist on what they're doing with their days right now. The first thing is, and I don't have to tell this audience, everyone's phone and email and text are blowing up. Still, consumers thinking they can get a 0% mortgage rate. So that we all know reality. In fact, we've gone pretty much the other way. I mean, I have my own refinance in process right now, so I'll just speak to how I'm thinking about this. And I know what my kind of strike rate is that makes sense for me. I've got all my documentation kind of in place, and I've got this kind of ongoing dialogue with the loan officer that's helping me, basically just via text, thumbs up or thumbs down every day. So we're in that holding pattern.
Yeah.
But I literally have everything going to be needed at the day of application, this thing rolling. And so what I've been watching some of the loan officers do, and the people I've been talking to, I think it's pretty cool, is they're basically saying, look, this is going to be a quick flood when rates drop, right? We're going to see kind of the choppiness that's happening in the market, be windows of opportunity open for people to take advantage of the drop in rates. That window may not be open for very long for various reasons, some capacity, others just the market moves in general, which you guys have been doing a great job of having tons of smarter guys than me and gals than me on to talk about rates, so I won't even go there. But the point is, when these windows open, as a consumer, you want to be in the best position possible to not only take advantage of the window, but to have everything go to make your originator, your loan officer's life as easy as possible, right? So as a loan officer today, what I would be doing is kind of building my top of the funnel pipeline, right? So there's the true top of the funnel. That's just all your everyday marketing that you're doing to continue to keep your brand out there in front of people. There's tons of great tools that AIME has relationship with to do that with. Then you've got kind of, as you go down the funnel, those folks that have already expressed interest and said, this is what I want, this is what I'm looking for, whether it's I'm going to be buying a home or I have a refinance target that I want to hit in terms of a rate or a payment reduction. And then that next funnel piece is where those people should just be totally ready to go. Everything completed from a data perspective in terms of a 1003, all the documentation that's going to be needed. It may need to get refreshed from time to time, right? So it's not just a matter of putting it together once, it's continually keeping it refreshed. And then when that market hits, you're off to the races. Interesting conversation I had yesterday with another lender was around, they're clearly looking at this thing 90, 120 days plus out. And there's going to be a huge segment of consumers who are already homeowners that have some sort of equity home that are going to likely need that equity tapped in order to kind of get through this, the other side of this financial crisis. And so they're already teeing up kind of messaging and campaigns for their clients that already are, they're already past clients, and they can tap the equity and kind of be in position to use the equity in their home to help through the back end of this slowdown, if you will.
Yep, definitely. I think that's when Eddie and I were chatting the other night, we talked a couple of days ago, it's very similar, right? Documentation is the name of the game right now with consumers, and it's just helping people understand whether it's today or 2 weeks from now or 2 months from now, go ahead and get everything that you can, right? Make sure there's a new part of your process if you're a loan officer is to say, all right, not just who's in my pipeline, but who's in my pipeline that needs refreshed documentation in case I can go ahead and get them locked, right? Have I talked to each one of them about what rate makes sense? So we've all seen it, right? Where we've seen reprices in the last week or so where it'll last for 2 hours and then capacity is maxed out again. And then all of a sudden rates jump back up. And if you didn't see it or you weren't ready for it, you're kind of out of luck, right? Until you get another day where it just happens to reprice for the better early in the day or sometime mid-afternoon, and you've only got a short window before the capacity opportunity is gone. So if you've got everything ready to go, you'll be able to serve not only more consumers and help clear out some of your pipeline, but also make sure that you're getting people the best rate available without having to go back to them and say, oh, there's a great price available right now, a great rate available. I need you to send me these 4 documents, because let's be honest, you're not going to get it in a short window for any consumer, no matter how tech savvy they are. I've built technology, and my loan officer, I guarantee, was sitting there watching this going, I've been asking you for these documents for 2 weeks, Katie, why haven't you sent them yet? So I'm guilty of it too. So if we're people who work in the industry who understand it, are still guilty of not necessarily having everything ready to go, just imagine how much harder it is for consumers that are battling what they're hearing on TV versus what you're telling them. The more you can have up front and ready to go, the better. So
100% agree.
Yeah, and so how do you do that, right? I think is the question that everybody's sitting here going, all right, what can I do? Because it's a lot of time and a lot of people that you're talking about not being able to clear pipeline out. It gets really congested up at the top when you're just gathering documents for 25, 30, 40, 50 consumers instead of the 15 to 20 that you normally work during a month that you can then move through. So Finlocker is one of those things that can help gather all of that information, help a consumer be a little bit more self-serving, and make sure that you've got access to everything that you need. So can you tell us a little bit about how that works and what Finlocker is able to do to make sure consumers are ready?
Yeah, for sure. And I think as you were kind of describing that process, right, that loan officers are engaged and they're helping consumers kind of keep aware and keep their information up to date. There's probably some regulatory concern too in terms of how long do you hold on to information. So a platform like Finlocker, and there's others out there, but a platform like Finlocker that's more consumer facing, and you said it kind of self-serve, puts the onus on the consumer, right, and says, okay, set up a locker, enroll your financial accounts. So that gives us the ability to start aggregating their asset accounts, right? Their transactional data from their asset accounts, which can trigger verification of asset. We just learned the other night from Fannie Mae's recent lender letter that you can use the digital data from an asset aggregation platform like a Finlocker to verify employment. You just have to see a payroll deposit inside of 10 days of closing.
Which that's huge right now.
Yeah. Yep. The platform is a data aggregation platform, but we also allow consumers to upload documents. So they can create a folder that's specific for my mortgage application. And maybe part of the cadence cycle of a loan officer communicating with that consumer, maybe on a monthly basis, you give them a reminder to upload their most recent pay stub or, insurance documents or mortgage statement as they make, as every month goes by. So they basically can store their documents. They've already got their data in there. That window of opportunity happens, officer, you can send out an email blast, or you're communicating, and then from their locker, the consumer can share the data and documents from locker with the originator, which then you ingest into your point of sale system, whether it's Arrive or whatever they're using at the point to kick off that mortgage application process. So tools like that, where the consumer just continually has their stuff kind of ready and updated and ready to go, and then can deliver away to the loan officer, I think is a good way to kind of get in line, if you will, for that drop in rates that will occur from time to time over the next few months.
Definitely. And you guys just launched an initiative with somebody who's obviously very near and dear to our heart, with Chris Griffith and the whole team over at Vetted VA. How has that been going? I know I've seen there are hundreds of vets who have signed up for what Chris is calling Go Bags, which is their locker, right? Their opportunity to get in and have access to this. What's that been like so far?
So first of all, I'm hoping that this crisis ends, because I don't want to end up looking like Chris with the beard down to here. That would not be a good look for me. It looks great on him. It's actually been really cool and very rewarding. So first of all, Chris and the community that he's built on Facebook with Vetted VA is just unbelievable. I find myself in there in the evenings just reading the interactions that are happening between the veteran community and the professionals that Chris has vetted and includes in that and just a ton of great information that's shared.
Yeah.
And so we at Finlocker have been able to kind of help in a small way. We partnered with Chris, and he came up with the Go Bag as the brand, as the product name, which is awesome. So it's the Vetted VA Go Bag powered by Finlocker. We launched it on, I think it was March 7th, and that first weekend we had 200 plus veterans sign up and go through the enrollment process. As of this morning, we're at 503. So we kind of cleared our first hurdle, our first milestone of 500 plus veterans in the Go Bag. I've surveyed the entire population. We've got about 25% that have responded. Feedback has been wonderful in terms of the value that the locker or the Go Bag provides them from a financial management perspective, the ease of enrollment. So it's all been great feedback there. And Chris is, I think it's helping Chris as well with his community, which is what we wanted to do. And I know he has bigger plans for this going forward. So we're proud to play a small role in what he's doing with that veteran community.
Same, right? We're so proud of what Chris is doing and everything he's been working on. Getting to see you guys jump in and play a role in that as well. We have long since talked about Finlocker here at AIME. I think we started talking about it last year at Vieaux. We're finally in a spot where we are so close to being able to launch our partnership. Everybody watching, you guys will see that any day now, so where you can start enrolling your own consumers in the same tool. Last question, because I did see somebody come through. They wanted to know what new development you have in Finlocker, if anything new is coming out that we should be really excited about over the next couple of months.
So we're an agile technology development company. So every 2 weeks we have a sprint cycle, and every 2 weeks, literally, there's like something fun or cool that we launch, which is I find myself every Wednesday night is every other Wednesday is Christmas Eve for me. It's like, oh my God, what are we going to do tomorrow? It's going to be cool. So our next sprint launches the week after next, and our expand sharing capability. So today, the ability for a consumer to there is a one-to-one between consumer and the sponsoring entity, a loan officer. We're expanding that to allow for consumers to select with other professionals like a credit counselor, a financial coach, or a housing counselor, a real estate professional. So other kind of professionals that are at fear of in housing to share with them as well. Especially excited about the housing counselor credit code piece of it. We partnered with Mike Guy, with Sam Parker and his team, and so we're working on how we launch in his kind of ecosystem.
Yep.
But what'll be cool is the clients that Sam invites to his version of Finlocker will ultimately be able to share the contents, the data behind their budget with the credit coach, which just, I think, takes that coaching relationship to another level.
Definitely.
And so there's the sharing piece that's cool. We're probably 2 or 3 sprints out from revamping our budget. Today, the budget is the consumer goes in and has to set each line item budget up and link the accounts that they want to track.
Mm-hmm.
We're pivoting to a default. So when the consumer is identified as a first-time home buyer, as an example, we're going to default to a traditional budget and automatically bring in their enrollment, put them in the category of the budget. Came out relationships we have with Freddie Mac and some housing counseling advocacy groups on how to better housing out, because they're more to expand services. So technology like Finlocker can help their coaches and counselors be more efficient and serve more a broader customer base.
That's so cool. It really does make it an actual one-stop shop for your consumer, not just prior to the loan transaction, but then throughout the life of their financial health, right? It's a way to keep tabs on, and then also have, as a broker, have giving your consumer the ability to always come back to you, not just for this first transaction right now to be ready for, but in a couple of years or 10 years or 15 years down the road. If consumers are living in this locker, this Finlocker, right, your financial locker the entire time, they always have access to those other people that play a big part in their overall financial health. Loan officer obviously being a huge part of that, credit coaching, like you mentioned, financial advisors, kind of bringing everybody all together under one roof.
Yeah, so we're excited. Part of our, I know we were having this conversation last fall. So Finlocker, we originally and kind of built our product as more of an enterprise type product. And so we've spent the better part of the last 4 or 5 months being able to deploy our product down to a single loan officer. So that's kind of where we got with our latest couple sprints. So we're going to really get going with the AIME membership group.
Awesome. Well, it is going to be ready for all of y'all that are watching literally any day now. We'll be making an announcement very, very soon. My credit guy, Sam Parker, who we talked about as well, who's partnering with you guys, is actually going to be on Facebook Live with me tomorrow, talking about how to be credit prepared during everything that's going on and how to avoid any missteps that could wind up pulling you out of the ability to get a loan in the next 60 to 90 days. So definitely tune in for that. I'm sure we'll be touching on Finlocker again there as one of the tools that you can use to help make sure you understand where consumers' financial health is actually living at the time. Brian, thank you so much. We've taken up almost 30 minutes of your time. So thank you for joining us. We're so glad to have you on. Anybody that's looking to get connected with Finlocker or with Brian, all you have to do is email partnerships@aimegroup.com, and we will get you guys set up as quickly as possible with everything that we've got going on. And definitely keep your eyes peeled for the announcement about our official partnership and everything that's going to be included. So Brian, thank you so much.
Thank you, Katie. Have a great day, everybody.
We'll see y'all later.